Hello, this is Sunay Vanchu, and I welcome you all to another exciting episode of The Shift, brought to you by ET Edge Insights. The Shift features industry leaders and global experts. To stay ahead of the curve, keep watching The Shift. They say that there are two important aspects of a picture: the photographer and the viewer. Today, we are exploring the third side of things, the third aspect, which is technology, in conversation with Mr. Vikram Bawa, who's a well renowned fashion and landscape photographer. So, Mr. Vikram Bawa, a very warm welcome to you on this specific discussion that we are going to have. I'm very much excited to have this with you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me here. It's interesting,
So, Mr. Bawa, from what I know of your history, you have always been someone who has that innovative mindset, right? From experimenting across different, say, phases and verticals in your life to, I think, being one of the founders and the promoters of the 3D photography scene
Yeah.
back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I want to know from you what keeps that kick going for you, and how are things evolving from where you started?
Now that I look back, I'm pretty young. I remember I was 10 years old when I used to experiment. I used to make electric cars, buy motors from the market. In those days, it was different. Get motors, cardboard. I think I mean, looking back, I always had an experimental bent of mind. Hence, school, college was science, maths graduation, moving on, to chemicals and other things. So I think for me, my mental journey is to keep doing something new. I cannot be stagnant. I get very bored. Like, even with my photography, people tell me, "Okay, you keep doing different things. Why don't you stick to one genre?"
Right.
I said, I know what my good genre is, but I have to experiment, which I bring into what I look at. Like, if I'm shooting people, I am known for shooting fashion with the bent of landscapes in it. That's because I love to travel. I love to
Right.
experiment. So it's automatic. So everything I do, somewhere it trickles down into my life, into my work. So that I mean, I guess it's just ingrained in me.
And obviously, I think since the time you started, there has been a lot of technological change,
Yes,
be
yeah.
it equipment-wise, be it how the editing is being done, the post
Yeah.
part of the shoot. What is the change that you have seen from your own lens, if I would like to put it that way?
So from a result point of view, we always wanted to get the perfect result. Yes, any tool was our bolte na, like our game or our chessboard. When we were shooting on film, we used to actually edit on negatives. We used to paint on negatives. People wouldn't even know that you can paint. All your spots that you do in Photoshop was done in film on negative, not on print. So on negative, you would sit with magnifying glasses, very high power magnifying glasses, and sit down and take out the pimple of the model or the star. So I think for me, just observing, watching, we used to have master printers in those days with whom we would sit and they would print for us. Today, Photoshop is our printer, our master printer who does all this dodging, burning, all these things. So for me, it's been an interesting journey from film, went on to scanning film and digitizing it, then digital cameras. Now we are jumping into the whole world of AI. So I'm pretty excited. I love to experiment. For me, all these are tools that I need to use to, take my creativity forward.
A very right word used, jumping into the world of AI,
Yeah.
wherein I would want to jump right now. So, what's the integration like currently? How do you see AI really, working out?
Well, I gave a talk some time back that traditional photography will be dead in some ways.
Yeah.
When I mean photography will be dead in the sense like the tools that we use, not like people will stop shooting photos.
Right.
Obviously, the human vision is going to be always paramount, right? But using AI to, speed my process is the biggest thing, because as a photographer, let's say if I shoot 15-20 days, let's say 20 days if I'm shooting 1,000 images a day. Imagine the time to go through, sort, to cull, to color correct, to edit, so AI, I think the biggest, I don't think it's there the way I want it. There are tools, but I feel in the future I will be using AI more and more. Of course, in my post-processing, we've been using AI now, I think almost a year and a half in post-processing.
Right.
As a tool to generate images. It's already been 2 years, I would say, since tools like Midjourney and all came into the limelight. So for me, I think AI is here to stay in a big way. I can't do without it.
What I understand is while you are a very innovative person yourself, and I think any new change is welcome by you. But from an industry lens, if we had to see, are there any specific challenges that are being faced in terms of getting aware of how AI works and integrating into your work?
Yeah. So there are quite a few challenges. In fact, I did a very big campaign which is just out on the hoardings and everywhere. So the big challenges is one, to make a client understand that it cannot replace photography.
Right.
Not yet. Two, it's a tool which can be used for ideating. It can be used as a part of an image. It cannot replace an image because it's not there yet. There will be a time when you may be able to बोलते ना, imagine and it will be done.
Create, yeah.
Today also it's like about prompting. What you write, the computer it's like coding. So when I was young, in fact in the 80s, I learned DBase, Pascal, C.
Yeah.
So I used to do coding because I thought I'll be a computer engineer.
Yeah.
So it's the same. Instead of coding, now it's AI. It's how you explain to the thing. So the challenge is like, multifold. In one way, plagiarism. We cannot use it to copy, which
Right.
from a creative point of view, it doesn't look good for me, at least on my name, that Vikram Bawa, this picture looks like that fellow. Then what's my input in it, right? So that is something a lot of people need to understand, that it's a tool to be used to create something, not copy it. Two, for me, I generally end up taking my own pictures, like the campaign I'm talking about. We actually shot something, fed it to the AI, trained it, and we wanted a particular feel and a result, and so we got that out. So inherently, the photo is still mine. Only the elements that I shot separately were put together. One big advantage from a photographer's point of view is that earlier we used to mix a lot of images, background change karo, ye karo, and then you do Photoshop, lighting. With AI, it gets much more easier. It's much more easier to get the correct lighting on the same image if you know how to train the model.
Even I think OpenAI has come out with newer platforms
Yes.
right now, which could take in prompts and you get a video out of it.
Yeah, there are many platforms who do that. OpenAI is one of them, but there are quite a few. DALL-E is there, OpenAI is there, Runway ML is there. There's a Chinese brand called Kling, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, it's a race. Every 2 weeks ke baad, this fellow is better, or that AI is better, or this AI is better.
That's what the question that I'm coming to is, does it replace the human factor? What do you see the long-term impact of the newer technologies coming in?
Well, I think it will only replace the human factor when we reach the Terminator age. Till then, if we are smart enough to control the companies to keep AI in check, I think we'll be the ones telling him what to do. Of course, there will be people who will let it replace them. There will be people who will use it to their advantage. So it's going to be like, a while, like, any new industry, like it's like mills became automated.
Yeah.
It took a while for everybody to understand that, get to that. Now no one thinks about it. So AI is going to be one of those things. Like,
and last things last, the ethical part of things around artificial intelligence. How do you see that moving? Instagram already has numerous AI profiles and deepfakes and whatnot.
Yes. Okay, so deepfakes is something that I don't want to touch on because I think that's totally going into the wrong zone.
Yeah.
Because you're using it for the wrong reason.
Right.
So, but I'll give you an example. I did a campaign recently with some very important people. The pictures are all over the world. Unfortunately, they were in Poland. So we got their basic pictures, we trained the model, and we recreated them in our AI model. Now that deepfake, I would say, is the ethical version.
Yes.
Because I had the rights, I had the permissions. The client who hired me, obviously first he got their rights, he got the permission, he paid them. Then he came to me, they are sitting in Poland, you are sitting in India, we want you to shoot them, but it's not possible. So can we create it in AI? I said, yes, it's totally possible. And we then ended up doing it. So I think that's the right way to work. The second question could be plagiarism, like you're saying, like, picking up. I mean, it's not the right take, maybe I'm wrong about it, but students in design colleges or in fashion colleges are taught about photography and they see my work online. I'll take my example, okay? They see my work online, they copy it.
Okay.
They're taught, Kisi Vikram Bawa does like this, lighting is like this, his color scheme is like that, right? Tomorrow, maybe when I'm gone, or maybe like I study so many other photographers, you have their books, you have the journals, their photography method, the lighting techniques, we all learn, right? If you start copying, you're back to square one. you're not never going to be anyone.
Yeah.
But if you start learning and make it yours, it's different. So for me, AI in a way is a tool which is a school. It's a learning platform.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can either say I want to make a painting like Van Gogh, copy it 100% and put it up and say it's my Van Gogh painting. It can't be done. Or you can say, okay, this is the style I like of Van Gogh. I want something created. I'm inspired by it. There's a huge difference. So it's how we look at it and how we use it.
Wonderful. While I could keep coming at you with numerous questions, but this has been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you, everyone.